Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub here for season number 27 for round number 11, the penultimate round of this season. And my oh my, there is definitely all still to play for in these last two rounds. My name is Jake. I'm taking you guys through this as always, and joined alongside me for this evening once again, Mr. Jamie Met92. Jamie, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, the championship's got ever closer, and it's great to see.
It certainly is getting that ever closer. I will bring up the calendar very quickly just so you can see. We are here for round number 11. We are at the penultimate round for this evening at Mexico. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down. I quite enjoy watching drivers around Mexico. I don't quite enjoy driving the track myself, but I do quite enjoy the actual circuit itself, like to spectate. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down for this evening. I say here for the penultimate round of this 12 race championship. Of course, I say it's all to play for between the top two. I'd even count the top three. I think Larkin, unfortunately, out of championship contention, but is all to play for the top three. You've got Papa Squanch, you've got Morgan, and you've got Solaus. So all three of them, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down. Larkin already putting in the chat saying he's looking forward to the weekly chat about his quali performance when he inevitably ends up in P12. Don't you worry, we will always cover that one for yourself about how much of a disappointment you are in qualifying, Larkin. Hopefully it's a bit higher than P12, but I won't be surprised if it's lower than P12 with absolutely no bias whatsoever.
No, his average quality is probably around that, to be fair. So, yeah, he needs to up his game here. And let's see, this track with which a lot of curbs. I'm not sure if Larkin's a big fan of the curbs around here, but it's a track you have to be ultra aggressive on, and I don't think it suits his methodical driving style. So we'll wait and see, though. I might be surprised.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. As I say, I mean, Mexico is one of those tracks where, again, I feel like it's very comparable to Marmite over in the UK. You either love it or you hate it. I'm on the side of I absolutely hate this track, I'll be honest with you. But I say to watch it, I think it's a very enjoyable track to watch drivers around here as well. So I'm also expecting quite a few penalties to be happening for this evening as well, Jamie. It's one of those tracks where it's very where there's like very fast corners going through the S section in second sector. It's very easy to have lap times invalidated and let's say penalties to be picked up and all sorts of that. So I think, if I'm honest with you, I think this evening we're going to see the winner not on track. I think it's going to be from penalties that get applied for corner cutting after this race.
Yeah, the key spots are probably turn 2 exits, so we usually get invalidation there, and also yes, especially when the tyres are slightly worn, which you'd like to do around here, and the penultimate corner, if you're wide coming out the stadium section, going to find the corner gate ones there, so yeah, for sure we're going to see plenty of penalties tonight, and it's going to be we'll see that top bar be very active in the race as the race gets going. And obviously also in qualifying we'll see quite a few invalidated laps, so it's key for the guys in qualifying to get a good lap in early. You don't want to be under pressure, you don't want to be at the end of the session not having a lap on the board. You have to so I won't be surprised if some guys take it steady in the first coil lap and then build up as the session progresses.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I reckon there's going to be a few people that will just get themselves a banker lap in, just so at least they've got a lap time on the board, and then properly go for it in the second part of qualifying or the very end of qualifying. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to go down. Before we get over into qualifying, as that is currently ongoing, I'll just quickly show you over the car wear as to what that is looking like, because we've only got one driver this evening that is taking a gearbox penalty, and I'm sure you've guessed it by looking at the screen. It is Papa Squanch who will be taking a gearbox penalty for this evening. One of our championship protagonists be taking that, so it goes advantage over towards Morgan for this evening and towards Solau. I think what Solau is really hoping for is if both of our championship leaders DNF for this evening, he is thrown straight back into the mix of that. Obviously he'd like to win it on track on merit, but I think for what he's really hoping is if those two do somehow DNF, I think, as I say, he is straight back in the running if he wins it this evening.
Yeah, the Papa DNF, it could be a thing because obviously if he doesn't qualify in the first 2 or 3 places, he's going to be starting mid-pack, and that is the danger zone around here, as we know how dramatic the run of turn 1 is. So yeah, Papa DNF isn't out the picture. He's going to have to be quite careful, but he's going to have to be aggressive at the start. So it'll be great to see how the Williams man does at the start. But yeah, Salah needs a win, and yeah, he needs double DNF for Morgan and Papa, and he'll make his day. But you have to say Salah's yet to win a race this season. I think I think his main priority is just to win a race. Then I think he knows he's an outside the championship, but he's got to win the race and just see what happens. That's all he can do. Just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can really do, is just to see what will happen. So, yeah, I think, as I say, qualifying is going to be quite interesting. The race is going to be interesting as a whole as well. Whether Salah's going to be the one that comes out on top, Morgan comes out on top, and catches up those 3 points to Papa Squanch in the championship, or if Papa Squanch, with his gearbox penalty, will somehow storm it through the field and take the win, or it might be somebody else. I mean, Kinney and Mr. Zontal and Jacob all look like they've adapted extremely well to P2 already this season.
Yeah, they have really just well. And I'd argue for this pace of showing, you could argue there could be potentially a P1 tier next season. They definitely are showing potential to be P1 drivers next season. If the front runners in P2, and you have to say watch out for them next season if they are in the P1 tier. But yeah, it's great to see them there, and also it adds a bit of jeopardy to the championship contenders. They can't just rely on qualifying like say 3rd or 4th on the grid. If they have a bad quality, they could be down in 6th or 7th. So it definitely puts a bit more pressure on them championship contenders.
Yeah, it certainly does. So they need to try and have themselves a very good qualifying this evening. If they do have a bit of a poor one, they will be straight down in that order, and then it's going to be very tough for them to try and overtake. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down. We are, as I say, currently into qualifying. 12 minutes left to go of the qualifying session. At the moment, Solau is the one that is sitting on top with a 1 minute 15.112. Morgan in second, only just shy of that time with a 1 minute 15.175, and Kinney with a 1:15.201. And I'm expecting pole times for these guys to getting into the 14s, maybe like the high to mid 14s. I would be expecting for a few of these P2 guys. So yeah, again, I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down, because we saw it in practice. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think it was in the practice earlier, Jamie, but the pace between Kinney, Morgan, and Jacob, and Solau, all 4 of them, the top 4, funnily enough, they are rapid around here in terms of qualifying.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, see, they look in a different league at the moment, and yeah, they definitely are. Obviously, I didn't really see much of it because I was sort of half a lap behind these guys. But yeah, I did see in qualifying that the pace is very strong, and I do expect to see these guys dropping the 14s once the track grips up and we get a bit better conditions for qualifying. Obviously, once the cloud clears up, I do expect to see these guys getting the 14s for qualifying, so that'd be one to keep an eye out for as well. But Jess, best the rest, the 7th yet again. Good qualifying pace for her, and Larkin down in 12th. He'll need to up his game a little bit there. He needs to get them 15s minimum, because he cannot be afforded to be 12th on the grid. He's just qualifying. As you mentioned, a lot this season's qualifying way too far back.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, as I say, what's probably ruined his championship hopes. And as I say, I don't think he's actually in the running for the championship anymore. I mean, he's 45 points behind Papa Squanch, so even with fastest lap points and winning both races, I don't think it's enough for him to be able to go ahead of Papa Squanch or Morgan. So, well, they've got to be able to get ahead of Morgan, but not ahead of Papa Squanch. So I think that is title fight done and dusted for Larkin. But I mean, still 4th place at this moment. He's still got the opportunity of getting 3rd ahead of Solau, depending on how Solau has or does in his race. So again, only time will tell within these last 2 races for this season. Just under 10 minutes left of qualifying to go. Everybody out pretty much on their second runs. Kinney being the first one to complete their second run with a 1:15.014. Another Kick Sauber of Mokwe, I think, just coming across the line to start his lap. And Aston Martin coming across the line of Mikey just to start his lap as well. Morgan actually ended up coming into the pits, so something tells me that he invalidated on his lap time. And same with Jacob and same with Cam. All 3 of them made their way into the pits after doing a lap, as Solau the first one into the 1 minute 14.9. So very good lap time for Solau there. Looking to try and apply the pressure on those 2 championship protagonists. think you are muted, sir.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I say it's a good psychological marker there for Salah to get the 14. Shows he's capable. As we've seen, if you guys behind, seen Rich and Catherine improving, getting to the mid 15s. But yeah, that's a good psychological marker by Salah, and it's a really good banker. He probably is going to have 2 more runs. I have to say, he comes to the pit, so he might have 2 runs at it to go again and improve even further. Now he's got that good solid banker on the board.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree as well. So, yeah, watching over with Mike at the moment, going through these S sections as well, seeing how he is just taking it again. Managed to keep himself off the negative points. So, let's have a look and see how he finishes off the rest of this lap as he's just making his way up through the stadium section now. The Welshman, I say, wanting to try and make a bit more of an improvement. He said he's now here for the rest of the season, basically just for vibes. So we'll see if he's able to have a good vibe for this evening as he comes across the line to do a 1 minute 16.4. Goes up ahead of Cam, but only up into 16th position. I think probably a bit of a disappointing qualifying for him so far. Larkin joins his teammate of Jess just behind her, up into 10th position he goes. So not too bad from Larkin in terms of that. Probably one of his better qualifying races so far.
Yeah, definitely. That's more like it for him. And obviously Mike, good to see him. The main thing really was he got on to minus points, so now he's done that. Now he can just have a bit of fun. And obviously it's not been his season, but he's still got enthusiasm for it. Good to see. And hopefully he can maybe get a points finish today. But obviously we might see a few incidents going on. As Wace is the only guy not to finish up. Obviously Wace did get a 3-place grid. I think Wace got a penalty for his corner cut qualifier. I believe it was a 3-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting 3 places further back on the grid today. So whatever he does, and he's coming to pits. That car looked a bit of a handful, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to come into the pits originally. I think he was trying to finish the lap, slid into the pits and said, "I guess I'm committed to the pits now." So he's just gone straight into the pits as the Ferrari driver. So yeah, actually I held that quite well, to be fair, going into the pits. I thought he might have ended up hitting the pit lane barrier, but did very well with that. So just having a look, seeing who else is currently out on laps at the moment, as most people are back into the pits to get ready for their second/third run at this. And I think the other Welshman of Welsh Benjamin, I believe, going through the S section at the moment, is currently out on a lap. She's making his way to the end of the second sector. He's 1.5 tenths up on his time. It won't be an improvement on position, but it will be an improvement on time if the Alpine driver is able to capitalise on his run throughout the stadium section. He's just making his way around the final corner now. Again, very easy to lose it out that final corner if you get too early on the power, but comes up to the line only just shy of Richie Lou's time. Does make an improvement on his time, but it's not enough to jump up another position. 14th is where Mr. Welsh Benjamin will stay for now.
Yeah, Jacob Behind was on a good lap. He was 3 tenths up going the final sector, but he ran deep in the final corner and lost about 2 or 3 tenths, dropped down to 4th, but could have been quicker as Morgan gets into 2nd place. Another guy in the 14s, but he's still half a tenth behind Salah. But Jacob's quicker of the lap for sure because he made a big mistake in the last corner.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we'll see if Jacob's able to get himself back into the pits, get himself another lap time done from that 1:15.3. I mean, it's a very good banker lap because Mr. Zontal came across the line to go into 5th position as well. He didn't manage to beat Jacob's time. So yeah, I think we're definitely going to need to keep an eye on Jacob to see if he can maybe match his teammate for this one. But I'm riding on board with Jess at the moment. Just at the end of the second sector, she is 800ths up on her time as she's coming through the stadium section now. Want to try and get on that power as early as possible, but not too much to the point where you end up spinning, as there was a McLaren that made an improvement. That was Cam up into 15th position, but Jess across the line stays in P9, but only 2 thousandths behind Catherine. So she made the improvement, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to jump up ahead of the other McLaren out in front of us. So yeah, very close though, from 7th to 9th there, Jamie. It's only split by 8 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, not hugely surprised, such a short lap, but yeah, it's great to see the competitiveness in the midfield. As we know, all season the midfield has been really close, and it's been within a few hot temps every single race, and no surprise to see it here on the shortest track of the calendar with not too many corners separate the drivers. It's great to see these guys really on it, as the majority of guys are now in the 15s. The only guys around are King, Ivor and Waste, they're the only guys yet to get at least a 15 in. So yeah, really tight grid. A second between Paul and 15th.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I think King Fi Panda is currently out on a lap as well as our championship leader of Papa Squanch, just coming through the S section now. Of course, he has that gearbox penalty, so he needs to make more of an improvement, because if he is going to finish this qualifying in 6th position, he's going to have an absolute handful of trying to get through this pack with that gearbox penalty. You end up starting in 11th position if that is the case. So yeah, he needs to definitely make an improvement. And in the second sector, he was only up by 0.06 of a second, so got to hope for himself that the third sector was where it was poor for him. And in fact, he makes his way into the pits, so he is going to be able to get in the pits, get himself a new set of tyres, get back out, so that we can go for one more final run as King Fi Panda, the other one that is just currently out on a lap. I think there's a Ferrari out in front that's just on an out lap. So yeah, we'll see if King Fi Panda, excuse me, is able to get himself into the 1 minute 15s, as in fact he's also coming into the pits.
Yeah, obviously they can see in the dash if they've got enough, if they're not on improving their lap, and obviously if they're committed to finish that lap, they wouldn't have enough time to go out again and put another set of tyres on. So yeah, I don't mean guys pitting, but I think King is going to be leaving it very tight now. He should have enough time. It's a short lap, thank you for him, but yeah. Papa's Delta was only a couple hundreds up, so he might as well pit and go again, because he wouldn't have moved up any places. So I don't blame Papa for aborting that lap. Obviously get another go again, another fresh set of tyres, and a lot of guys coming out now for the final runs in qualifying. And look at this, you've got the top three separated by a tenth of a second.
Yeah, very close between all three of them. And I expect Jacob to be joining that fray as well, and same with Papa on his final run. So yeah, qualifying is still anyone's game between those between all 6 of those guys in the top 6. And maybe someone else could also come out as a surprise. You never know for sure. But one person that's going to be able to do their final run, I was riding on board with Waze. He's not actually on a lap at the moment. It's going to be Richelieu in the first sector, 300ths down on his time is the Haas driver, but is still going to be trying to put that power down, coming through the double right-handers now, up towards the Mexican S's, as say, you've got to try and take these nice and flat as much as possible for the Haas driver. See if he's able to make any improvement in this second sector using the overtake ERS in towards there. DRS of course now open for him as well. Kicksauer getting out of the way, 0.04 of a second up on his time is the Haas driver, so gonna look at making an improvement. Might end up jumping up ahead of Mikey and Mokri depending on how his final sector is going to go down, as he's now making his way round the final corner. Is it going to be any more of an improvement from that 115.9? And it certainly is, up into 12th position, 0.08 of a second up ahead of Mikey. And we're now going to start to see, Jamie, a lot more people are out on their laps, including the top 3.
Yeah, they're all on the laps now, the top 3 all started their qualifying laps now. We'll see who's going to be first across the line. I believe it will be Morgan. He's a slightly down according to Delta now, but let's see what he does come across the line. He can still improve the last set. Let's see what he does cross line now. Can he get on pole position, or would it not be for his day? No, he loses. He lost time. He was slowing that lap, so Morgan's out of the race for pole position. He won't have time to charge the battery and go again. So Morgan won't be on pole tonight. But what about Salah? Can he do it? He's a 10th up in sector 1. What is his sector 2 going to be like? Can he lower the bar even further? As if Kinney's just ahead of him now. So these well, it's not Kinney, it's Moki, sorry, but Salah, he's half a 10th up, so he can raise the bar even further. He may be getting to a 0.8 and even 0.7 with a good last sector, but his Haas head might give him some dirty air.
It certainly does. Mr. Zontal jumps up into second position, so up ahead of Morgan. Very good time as Solau jumps up even further and raises that bar even higher, 114.827. But Kinney is 0.3 up on his time, and this is going to put him up ahead of Solau. It'll put him on pole position. Is Kinney about to ruin the party for Solau and chuck that pole position there? He certainly does. A 114.6 from Kinney. What a final sector that was, as Jacob also going to be able was just making his way around the final corner as well. Rich comes across the line with a 115.4, but Jacob, we haven't seen what he can do in terms of qualifying yet, and he jumps up into second position, so jumps up ahead of his teammate as well. So even more of a spoiler for Solau, and Papa Squanch might even be able to do the same thing, as he's now coming across the line only to do a 115.2. So 11th position is where Papa Squanch is going to be starting. Kinney, to my knowledge, is our pole sitter.
Yeah, he is another enemy else going to improve. Got Larkin behind. He jumps to 10th, a key lap better for Larkin, so he will start ahead of Papa Scotch on the grid. So a good qualifier for Larkin there, top 10, that's decent. Wilkie, I think, is the only guy left on the lap. What can he do? What's his middle sector going to be? He's way down, so he's done. So that's our grid. Kinney, yet another pole position. As he got pole last week, obviously didn't start on pole, but this time he's going to be able to start there. So we'll see. I see two former P3 drivers in the first two, and we've also got Zontal in fourth.
We
It's
certainly
quite incredible
do.
to see these guys here
Yeah,
at
no,
the front of the grid.
yeah, we certainly do. So Kinney, third pole position this season for him. He hasn't managed to convert it to a win yet, but this might be the time for him to do so, especially when he's got Solar behind him. Morgan separated by down in fifth. So I think this race is about to be a very, very interesting race with the guys that have got promoted from P2 from P3 to P2. 3 out of the 4 of them are in the top 4. So I think this is definitely going to turn out to be very interesting. Jess is going to end up jumping up into 6th, so she might be able again to try and put a bit of contrast and helping with her teammate. Or again, she's more than welcome to try and carry on with herself, because she's currently sitting in 9th in the standings, 2 points behind Cam, and Cam has had a bit of a bad qualifying for himself. So I think he's going to try. This could be Jess's time to go up ahead of Cam in the standings. But yeah, quickly go through the results for yourself. So Kinney and Jacob on that front row in first and second, Salau in third, Sontal in fourth, Morgan fifth, Papa Squanch in sixth, Jess seventh, Rich eighth, Catherine ninth, Larkin 10th, Moki in 11th, Cam in 12th, Mikey 13th, Richard in 14th. I've been Mike in 15th, actually out qualifying his teammate, which I think is a bit of a change. So well done to Mike for that one. Welsh Benjamin 16th, King Pie Panda in 17th, and Waze in 18th. Welsh all at the bottom 4, which I don't think the other fellow Welshmen in this league are going to be particularly too happy to see that their bottom 4 are all Welsh.
Yeah, not a great day for the Welsh, but there's still plenty of time to show for it, and yeah, hopefully they can have a better recovery in the race. And we do there's a lot of Welsh drivers in this league, and it's great to see the Welsh community grouping together, but hopefully they can have a better race. If you start on the back, it's not the worst place to start around here. You just keep it clean, and obviously hopefully a bit of carnage ahead, and you can weave your way through the carnage. Because I do expect to see instances of turn 1 at Kota. We didn't get any, but I think today it's a lot more dangerous than Kota, so I'll be shocked if nobody doesn't have a spin in turn 1 at Kota. Hopefully not Ivor spin Mike, hopefully not him though, because I don't want to see him have one. I want him to have a good race.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do want to see him have a good race as well. So yeah, I say it's going to be Kinney and Jacob at the front row, and I think it's going to be a very interesting way to see how how both of them will handle being at the very front of this very front end of the grid. Hopefully, able to put their setups on as well this time. Hopefully, Kinney doesn't forget like he did out in Singapore. But yeah, I think it's very, very, very interesting qualifying for sure. Whilst we are waiting to get ourselves back into the race, once we've had the restart and the grid has been set, I'll quickly just go through the sponsors for this season. Of course, as always, a big shout out to our first sponsor of Next Level Racing for providing prizes towards the end of the season. I say they've been a partner for many seasons now, so it's a big shout out to Next Level Racing. Next one being our newer sponsor of Sim Racing Setups, for providing a Pro Setup bundle for F1 25, being created by esports drivers from leagues such as PSGL and WOR, offering dry and intermediate and wet setups for yourselves as well. If you did want to go and check them out, you're more than welcome to go and use code OneHubRacing for 5% off at checkout. So obviously a big shout out to Sim Racing Setups. Next sponsor being Pure Sim Gear. They provide sim racing socks and gloves to the driver with the most fastest laps and pole positions over the course of the season. You can use code OHR10P to get yourself 10% off on their sim racing socks and gloves. Next sponsor being Vespertine Gaming. Obviously, our very own Salau, being the main head of Vespertine, and they support our official apparel and provide some great merchandise prizes towards the end of the season. And then very finally, our partners over at SimGrid. Of course, without them, we would be using a load of Google documents, a load of Google spreadsheets, or even just Excel spreadsheets, anything like that. And we don't particularly want to be using them because then it makes life a bit more difficult for the admins as well as drivers trying to look at where they are in the grid. And anybody that just wants to have a look at it, it's all in one place, and it allows people even outside of the league to then also check them out as well. So yeah, big shout out to all of our sponsors for this evening. And I've got to ask as well, Jamie, in that qualifying, who would you say was a bit more of an improvement, a bit more of a surprise, like happy improvement, and someone that might have been a bit disappointed in terms of your qualifying stance?
I think the disappointment, I know it's harsh disappointment qualifying top 6, but I think disappointment has to be Papa Squanch because he's fighting for a championship. He needs to get everything out of it possible, especially with the energy penalty. So I think him starting 6th is not the best. It's not the best for him. Obviously, we start 11th on the grid, and I think for positive surprise, there's a few candidates for that, but I think the main one probably will be. I think it sounds weird saying this for a champion contender, but I think Larkin would be low key happy to be top 10 on the grid. Obviously, we know he's much better in racing qualifying. He'll start 9th. If he can get a decent start up to, like, say, 6th after that one, then he is right in contention for a good result in the race. So I know it sounds bizarre saying a champion contender, starting 10th, a good qualifying, but that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, I think you was expecting it to be a bit more bad mouthing him, but no, I think that's more of a positive one for him this evening. So, yeah, starting in qualifying 10th, but starting in 9th, I think that'll be very interesting for Larkin. I think I say it might be one of the higher times that he's actually qualified where he has. So maybe he can be able to turn this into a decent result for this evening. I've got to agree with you in terms of disappointment wise. I think Papa Squatch qualifying in 6th, and I'm also going to chuck Morgan in there as well. Both of the championship contenders, 5th and 6th for qualifying, is not one that I think they're going to be particularly too happy with. And I think both, if they wouldn't mind me saying, I think would be quite disappointed with where they put that. So I think, yeah, they definitely know that they can make more of an improvement in that. And especially with Papa Squanch now going to be starting down in 11th with that gearbox penalty, I don't think he's utilised that as much as he probably could. So yeah, definitely my biggest disappointment for qualifying will be the pair of them. And I think biggest surprise and happiness for qualifying wise, I think I've got to give it over to Jacob, starting in 2nd position. We knew what his pace was going to be like when the admins put him up into P2, but to then go and out qualify all 3 of the championship contenders. Same with Kinney, but Kinney's already had a couple pole positions already. But Jacob's starting in 2nd. I think that's his highest qualifying so far this season. So to me, he's definitely my biggest surprise, and I'm expecting Jacob to actually win this race now after what I'd seen from that qualifying. And Kinney is, I don't think you'll like me saying this, but I think Kinney is more of a qualifying merchant. And I think Jacob has got like the whole package of that. I mean, Jacob has got the opportunity of winning a race this evening and definitely putting a spanner in the works with the championship contenders.
Yeah, that's the evidence what I saw in the we're racing the P3 tail. Jacob didn't often get pole, but what he did, he just managed a much better race. His strategies were bang on. And yeah, now the great thing about this now, we're going to see him actually start at the front because the past few races, they've always had their engine penalties and gear penalties get served out of the way. But now we get to see him start at the front, not have to weave through the traffic, and now we get to see how their race pace stands up against the likes of Salau and Morgan. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It's going to be a great watch, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure it will be. So, yeah, we've just had the updated grid order. So the order will go as follows. So it'll be Kinney and Jacob is top 2 as always, as it was before. Same with Salah and Mr. Zontal in 3rd and 4th, Morgan in 5th. But obviously because of the gearbox penalty for Papa Squanch, it means that Jess gets promoted up into 6th, Rich into 7th, Catherine into 8th, Larkin into 9th, Mokui into 10th. And then Papa Squanch will be starting in P11 for this evening. And then everybody from 12th downwards all staying at the same position. So Cam, Mikey, Richelou, Ivorbrin Mike, Welsh Benjamin, King 5 Panda, and Shekways all with that as well. So yeah, I think everybody get yourselves in the chat who you think will take the win for this evening, who will be a good surprise, a bad surprise, and same with qualifying wise as well, to see who you think will be a good surprise or who you thought was a good surprise and bad surprise, qualifying wise. But whilst we're waiting and just loading into the race, Jamie, I just want a quick reflection so far because obviously we're in the penultimate race of the season. I mean, how have you found? Have you expected a few of these drivers to be where they are in this season? Was there anyone that's been a surprise for you? I think I asked this last week, but
Yeah.
anyone that's been maybe a bit of a surprise for yourself in this season?
Um, looking at it, I'm not hugely surprised he likes a Papa up there because I knew he was quick, and Salah, I know he was quick. So I've raced these guys in the past, so I'm not hugely surprised by the obviously top three, with Larkin in fourth. Obviously Morgan, new driver, you're not sure what he's going to do, rookie driver. So that's probably not a huge surprise either, because your rookie drivers always do well. But I think in terms of a good surprise, I think Cam coming in and being like 8th place after missing the first pre-race, that's a good surprise. And Jess as well, the top, they're a positive surprises. I think they have really stood up quite well. To be top 10 in a tier like this is really good. And for disappointments, well, I don't like beating the bush here, but I think for being in P1 last season, I'm being quite a regular point scorer in P1 last season. I think Ivory Mike has to be a disappointment because he's just not really been on this season. His best results 11th place twice, and not getting a top 10 in the race this season for a guy who was in P1 last season is not the best. So, yeah, I think I'm sorry, Mike, but I think the disappointment season so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I fully agree with what you said with that. I think for sure Mike is probably going to be disappointed with how his season's been. I mean, he's only just gotten himself off of the negative points, so we're in the penultimate race of the season. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to be disappointed with how his season's gone as well. And yeah, I'll probably say in terms of biggest surprise, I mean, there's a few of these drivers that I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually even know coming in towards the start of the season when I was doing the commentary for P2. Obviously, I knew the likes of Larkin, Rich, Cam, obviously when he joined at a few midway, but everybody else, absolutely no clue. So, and obviously Mike as well. Obviously, I knew about that, but I had absolutely no clue of how everybody else was going to do. So, it's quite nice to see that a lot of these guys have actually given me a surprise. Say Papa Squanch, I think I said this last week, probably biggest surprise for myself in terms of being a championship leader. So yeah, I'd say he's biggest surprise. Jess as well, I've got to say, very good surprise in the fact that she was, as I say, it's the first time that she's been out of the bottom tier, and she's putting it to the guys in the P2 tier. Like, she's not being a slouch in the P2 tier whatsoever. So yeah, I definitely give those tiers a bigger surprise in terms of good surprises for this season for sure. My dog putting it in the chat, he reckons Morgan will win, Jacob in second, and Kinney in third, or both three as the top three for this evening. We're just literally getting ourselves into the race for this evening, as we have now got the 5 red lights on for the penultimate round of season number 27 of 1RP2, and we are underway, and it looks like a very even start at the front. Kinney, I think, actually had the better start in comparison to Solau as well, lining up alongside his teammate, trying to get the slipstream off of the back of the kick Sauber down in towards turn number 1. Are we going to see any audacious dive bombs in towards it? There is a, whoa. I think that was Mr. Zontal diving it down the inside, hitting the side of, I believe that was Jacob's car, and is already down into 18th position. Waze, Papa Squanch, Cam, all going side by side with one another. Cam dropping down a few positions. King Pie Panda and Mosh Benjamin also changing positions, but the two Mercedes changing those positions very, very early on. Larkin getting the move done on Catherine. As in fact, there's been a spinner of Catherine out in the background. There's a few cars going very wide and coming in towards the double right-hander. I don't know if Larkin or if Catherine felt that she was left enough room on the inside of Larkin, but yeah, there's been that spinner of Catherine. Very unfortunate for her start, but what an incredible start from Kinney. Already almost pulled out a 1 second gap to Salah behind him.
Yeah, great serve for Kinney. Managed that really well, that launched really well. Great launch there. Wasn't really under threat into turn 1. Salah had a little look, but wasn't in the impression of Zonto. I don't know, the back end just stepped out and start there, and he just he tried to avoid it, I think, but hit him. But lucky for him, he's got no damage. He's actually overtaken 2 cars already. He's overtaken Richelieu and Bells Benjamin in the S's, so he's got really good pace. But starting it all the way down to 15th, that's going to be difficult for him. But yeah, but Kinney's almost broke DRS Salah already. Obviously, DRS will be in play for the second DRS zone. Approach the stadium section now, and that's what Salah's job's got to be. And I think Jacob looks quicker than Salah at the moment. So interesting decision for the Mercedes team here.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I was just trying to ride on board with Papa Squanchi. Looks like he was going for the move on Cam down towards turn 1, but I think thought better of it and backed out of that move. Yeah, only 2 drivers, by the way, starting on a set of the hard tyres, both Larkin and Papa Squanch. Everybody else are starting on a set of the medium tyres for this evening. Of course, strategy for here is a medium hard or hard medium hard or even hard medium. But we'll see if there's any safety cars. Then I'm sure we'll see a lot of drivers opt to go for a set of the hard tyres, as Mr. Zonta has not lost out just 1 but 2 positions now to Rich and Catherine, so he must have had another sort of oversteery slidey moment from going in towards those double right-handers once again. Very unfortunate for him there, but Kinney managing to hold that 1 second gap between himself and Salah, and now that the DRS is enabled, we're going to start to see some moves go down, going down in towards turn number 1 here, Jamie.
Yeah, definitely. As well, Benjamin also gets by Zonta down last place. Yeah, but Jacob's got a run on Salah here. Salah's got no DRS, so it should be quite easy move for the Mercedes man. And I wonder if, yeah, and he's got through there very nicely indeed, up into 2nd place. Morgan not too far behind Salah, so yeah, Salah, he's going to fight back here. But because the way it's called designed, if you have DRS on the first straight, get it down the second straight now, so that allows the overtaker to consolidate their advantage.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Mokwe and Sheck Ways now both side by side with one another. Ways, by the way, making up 8 positions off of the start. A very good start for the Ferrari driver. Mokwe, though, now opting to go or get switched back by the Ferrari driver. He's still holding it around the outside of Ways, going down in towards the S section. But Ways, beautiful switchback that was from him. Up into 9th position. Very, very good start for the Ferrari driver. I say now up 9 positions from where he had started in this race.
Yeah, a great start for him now. So he was having a great start last week on the wet tyres, full wet tyres. Yeah, so great to see him. He definitely is one of the biggest movers on lap 1 every season. So he is really good at the race start. Because now Jacob is within DRS range of Kinney, but I think he's a bit too far back for the overtake. But we'll wait and see.
Have a look and see if DRS is now wide open for the Mercedes. He's going to try and use his ERS. He's closing up to the back of the kick Sauber. I don't know if he's going to be close enough. He's going to opt to go down the inside in towards turn number 1. He does send it. Kinney trying to go for a bit of a switch back there, but Jacob's going to have a poorer run coming out of this chicane. But with the DRS, it's going to help him stay up ahead of the kick Sauber. So Jacob now inherits the race lead. Salah is going to try and follow his teammate through, but I don't think he's close enough to go for the move on the kick Sauber, as staying down in 3rd position. And I think there was a few movers going down even more in the midfield. Cam getting the move done on Ways. Ways, in fact, losing out not 1, not 2, but 3 positions. Now down into 12th position goes the Ferrari. So he's been overtaken by Papa, by Mokwe, and by Cam.
Yeah, not great. Maybe he pushed a bit too hard his tyres and starting to hurt now, because this is sort of lap 4, where if you really are struggling on tyre wear, this is when it really will hit lap 4. That the rears will just go round here. So I don't think people pit this lap, but I think lap 5 we may see 1 or 2 pitters, especially in the midfield. Like so, I won't surprise if Waste makes an early pit stop here because his tyres look shot.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the mediums, they definitely start to die off very, very soon. So we're going to start to see the likes of Larkin and Papa make some moves here. As you can see, Papa German is all over the back of Cam going. So DRS is now going to be wide open. Larkin as well, all over the back of Mikey. The Aston Martin down in towards turn 1. He's using that ERS as much as possible. Not going to be close enough, as Kinney and Sonal still both side by side with one another as well, going through the chicane. And I think Sonal is going to have the DRS. Well, both of them will have the RS. Morgan is going to try and join the fray. We might see a free wide. We are going to see a free wide as they make their way in towards the end of the 1st sector. Morgan going to hold it in the inside, which will become the outside for this section. Kinney squeezes him out on out of the track. And Morgan not going to be particularly too happy the fact that he probably got squeezed out there when he was entitled. Well, he felt like he was entitled to the rim. So potential steward report after the race. But Kinney now drops down at the third. It's now a Mercedes 1-2 here so far, Jamie.
Yeah, definitely great work from Mercedes. Salah's recovered after his poor start. Yeah, and you have to say Morgan. We know how aggressive he is. Obviously, we saw last lap of the last race where he did that brilliant overtaking move on Papa, and wouldn't be surprised to see Morgan do a repeat on Kinney because he'll be fired up after that defence from Kinney. And Kinney, I don't know. He's struggling at the moment now. Maybe he went a bit too hard early on. Maybe we're starting to see the tyre wear effects coming already as Kinney is in the pits now, and I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised. That was Kinney, our first pit stop for this evening. Mikey also following suit with that, so it's now unleashed Morgan to try and go and catch up to the top two of the Mercedes. But look at Solau, his over speed that he had in towards turn one. He is so much quicker in a straight line in comparison to his teammate, and he has the DRS as well. So Solau definitely looking the quicker of the two of them, and I'm intrigued to see if Solau's going to be able to go for the move on his teammate. He probably won't be on this lap, but most likely towards the next lap, going down towards turn one, we're going to see a change of the Mercedes drivers as Larkin is now up into 6th and Papa Squanch now up into 7th after Kinney, Mikey, Catherine all making their way into the pits. So yeah, they're having they're now going to start to make up some moves with the guys that are in front of them out on a set of the medium tyres. There's been a spinner in towards the back. That's Cam and Sheck Ways. Cam having a bit of front wing missing on his front left, and same with Ways. I don't know what had happened there. I don't know if they were just banging wheels with each other and got caught and gone into the wall. I think that may have been what has happened. But yeah, they've now both got that front left end plate missing. I'm assuming that they'll both be in at the end of this lap to change wing and change their tyres.
Yeah, definitely. This is a track where you cannot get away with wind damage because that mess is absolute torture of wind damage. So these guys will pit now, chuck a set of hards on and try and go to the end. Salah is in the lead, but more Jacob's pitted. So Salah will get DRS down these two straights here, and he will pit next lap surely to cover Jacob off. So Jacob going for the undercut. Interesting, Jacob's got pit priority. That's interesting. I'm surprised by that. I thought Salah would be in first, but there you go.
I think the reason why is because Jacob was still up ahead of Solau anyway, going in towards that, going in towards the pit lanes. So. Yeah, I think he's just covering it off just to make sure. Well, I think more or less covering Kinney off as he's just making his way up towards come past the pit lane now. And Jacob, in fact, is a lot clearer of Kinney than what I would have thought. He's about 2 seconds up in front as Richelieu, I just realised, also has himself that front left end plate damage. Bit of wheel banging between himself and Myverbrin Mike. As well as Welsh Benjamin. They're all actually now joining the fray, and unfortunately for Jacob, he's all over the back of this battle here. He wants to try and get a move done on one of the Alpines at the very least, but he's just going to have to sit behind them, and it's now going to allow Kinney to catch up to him. So yeah, after Jacob having that overcut on the Kick Sauber, unfortunately it looked like it was going to work had those cars not have been there, and now Myverbrin Mike just kind of giving that one up. Yeah, he's just giving that position up. So Mike now down into 12th, Jacob up into 11th.
Yeah, Mike probably didn't want to fight this too much in the S's with a car behind on fresher tyres. So yeah, you'll get benefit of DRS. So I'll still catch up to the guys who's racing, but Mike's not really in this fight as Morgan's in the pit. Salah going longer, so Salah's going for a bit of offset here as Jacob goes up the inside of Benjamin. Easy move done there, and he should DRS the Haas down the straight pretty easily as Ivan Mike gets yet another penalty, so he's struggling for track limits tonight.
He's the only one as well that I'm quite surprised actually has a penalty within these first 8 laps. And not only one, he's got 2 penalties. So we could potentially be seeing an Myverbrin Mike DSQ if he gets too many penalties, as Jacob jumping up ahead of Richelieu now. And there is Kinney as well, trying to see if he can go for a move on Welsh Benjamin. Welsh Benjamin getting swamped by all of the hard runners that have just made their pit stop. And Morgan now going for that move as well. So that Alpine, I say, getting absolutely swarmed by everybody there. Now Jess is going to try and see if she can go for a move on the Alpine. But yeah, Morgan comes out behind Kinney and behind Jacob. So, and he's not that far away from them. He was a lot closer than what he was beforehand.
No, and the good news for Jacob is he's got by Richelieu and Kinney hasn't. So Kinney's going to sit by Richelieu for these S's, and I believe he'll lose probably on that half a second to a second round there because Richelieu is going to really struggle for traction around there. And yeah, look at this, all the back of him. And Kinney has to dive up the inside of the stadium section here for sure. He has to dive up the inside because he may be under threat from Morgan. If he doesn't, yes, he can go up the inside, does he? Yes, he does. And he makes it stick. And now Richelieu is going to be a bit of a buffer between him and Morgan. But the only problem for Kinney is he ain't got DRS down the straight. Salah's in the pits.
Yeah, certainly our Mokri also into the pits as well. So Salah is now making his way out of the pits. Where is he in relation to his teammate? There is Salah on the right hand side of your screen. They're both going to be side by side, but Jacob is going to inherit the net race lead. And now Salah up into a net second position. So the Mercedes hold the running order. But the thing is that Jacob has got 2 lap older tyres than the Mercedes, but that was orchestrated beautifully from both of the Mercedes, as I remember Mike has picked up 6 seconds worth of penalties within the space of a single lap.
I think he's on pace for a DSQ at this rate, for sure. Yeah, but that's worked out an absolute treat for Salah. Look, 2 lap fresher tyres, and he's right where he was when Jacob pitted. That has worked out an absolute treat, and that shows you beats up behind this traffic as you got King and Jacob banging wheels there, so King isn't letting these guys through in there. You know, resting Jacob had to get the move done. Now Salah will DRS the Haas down here, but will Haas have DRS? Yes, he does, but I believe he'll get the move done easily anyway, because I believe the Haas has 0 traction.
Yeah, exactly. So King 5 Panda now going to start to go for a bit of a switchback on Salah, and I think he's actually made that work. He has indeed. What a move that was on those dead tyres from King 5 Panda in towards the stadium section. He gets that move back done on the Mercedes, but I'm assuming the Haas, he is coming into the pits this lap, and now that's allowed Kinney and Morgan to close up to the back of Salah. Salah is managed to pick up DRS from the back of King 5 Panda from that, so now luckily for him, Kinney isn't going to be able to go for the move, but he's out of DRS to his teammate and has a massive lock up in towards turn 1, did the Mercedes. So yeah, I think we might see a move go down though, because he's gotten the better run out of that first chicane. So is Kinney going to be able to go for the move on Salah? No, he's not going to be close enough to going for it, and Morgan isn't close enough to capitalising anything either. So yeah, Jacob has now broken free from those 3 guys behind. 1.8 seconds separate the 2 Mercedes. I wonder if Jacob's going to drop back ever so slightly to help out his teammate, or if he's just going to try and race on and try and get an undercut on those 2 guys that started on the hards of Papa Squanch and Larkin.
Possibly. It's interesting to see what happened in between teammates. I think at the moment Jacob should just go for it a little bit and let Salah catch up naturally. But the only problem doing that is that Salah might be under pressure from Kinney, but Salah's had a great lap here. He's pulled 7 tenths here, but the unfortunate thing for him is it's not enough, because Kinney will have the DRS down the straight. He'll have 2 goes at it. So Salah needs to get a good exit out of this last corner now, unless he'll be under threat from the kick Sauber, and also the Aston Martin, who is hanging on gamely.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I think in fact Salah did have a very good run out of that final corner, so it looks like he's going to be able to hold on ahead of Kinney going down into turn 1. I've Mike with yet another 3-second time penalty, and ironically the only ones with penalties are both of the Alpine drivers. So yeah, Mike with just significantly more than his teammates, however, but yeah, very unfortunate that the 2 drivers with penalties at this moment in time are both of the Alpines. But yeah, Salah manages to stay up ahead of Kinney, and as I say, that Kinney has a massive slide going towards the end of that first sector. So yeah, I think we're going to see Morgan potentially try and capitalise on any mistake that Kinney may make, as yeah, he is just sticking to the back of him like glue.
Yeah, and now Kinney does not have DRS from Salah anymore, so this may allow Morgan to have an opportunity here. Morgan, he will probably just wait for the pit straight, because I think he'll just get by easily if he's far behind at the last corner. But yeah, Kinney is not. The car doesn't seem as nice as the Haas or as the Mercedes or the Aston Martin. His setup seems a bit more unstable.
Yeah, it certainly does. So let's have a look. Morgan is going to have the DRS on the back of the kick Sauber right in front. Kinney isn't going to have any DRS on the Mercedes. So both using their overtakes to try and stay ahead of one another. But Kinney, that red flashing lights on the back of his car. Morgan got the DRS, got the move done on the kick Sauber, up into 5th position, a net 3rd position from those 2 out in front on the hard tyres. Interestingly, Jacob has caught Papa Squanch by about nearly 3 seconds in the space of 2 laps. So those hard tyres for the guys out in front are definitely dying off, and I think we're going to see them maybe make a pit stop very, very soon. If it's not on this lap, it'll be next lap.
Pits to retire. Yeah, Mike's in the pits to retire. Yeah, definitely. That shows you a 6-lap difference offset. Just shows you how crucial fresh tyres are around here and getting a good strategy. But I think Larkin's put himself in a good position to maybe fight for maybe get back in the fight with the likes of Kinney. Maybe Larkin's got some decent pace in the entire life, but Larkin will surely be in very soon. For what would you go for if you Larkin? Would you go for another set of hards, or would you go medium middle stint? What would you go for? Would you go mediums at the end or middle stint?
I think, in my opinion, it's probably best to get the mediums out of the way because the hards are the much better race tyre around this circuit. So, in my opinion, I think you get the mediums out of the way, middle stint, and then go for the hards at the very end of the stint. As Papa Squanch has come in, tucked on another set of the hard tyres, so he's got to hope that there is no safety car coming out at the very least until lap 26 for this strategy to work for himself. But yeah, comes out on a fresh set of hards, comes out behind his teammate and up ahead of Mokwe into 9th position. So just Larkin, the only one left to make a pit stop to my knowledge. Yeah, it's just Larkin. So we'll see where he ends up coming out. He was about 3 seconds out in front of Papa Squanch, so he should come out ahead of him, or still should come out ahead of Papa Squanch, but it will be pretty close. I think he won't come out behind Rich. He will come out behind Rich, but ahead of Papa Squanch.
Yeah, he'd be probably within a second Rich and Mikey, but yeah, he'd come up behind, but come ahead of Papa. Papa got a nice clean air to get his tyres embedded and get an undercut as Larkin's in. No surprise he had to cover off Papa. He didn't want Papa to gain too much ground as the Red Bull crew get ready for pit stop now. What tyre would he go for? Can we see in the garage? Is it going to be? Has he got a spinner, I believe, further back? It's a set of hard tyres, so they're ignoring our advice. As I believe that was. Who was that as a spin? I believe it was maybe.
Sontal. I think he had the spin in the middle in this S section. Richelieu now picks up 3-second time penalty for his troubles. Where is Larkin actually coming out? He's actually come out only just behind Rich, so that's a very, very good overcut. Sorry, that he's done. He's on 6 lap fresher hard tyres compared to the 2 out in front. So I think Larkin might make it a little bit easy pickings out of these guys out in front, especially if he gets those hard tyres warmed up pretty quickly.
Yeah, now Larkin's on the fresh tyre. Now, if you get by these guys pretty quickly, and you should probably get by Jess as well. Jess will probably just let him through. Now, how close can you get to likes of Kinney and Morgan ahead? As it looks like at the moment, the 2 Mercedes have the legs and everybody else. And is Larkin out this podium fight? I don't think he is.
I wouldn't necessarily say he's out of it, for sure. Obviously, that medium stint he's going to have at the end is going to pay dividends for him, but he needs to have a good second stint here on those hards and hope that there is no safety car. Because if there is a safety car that comes out within sort of like the next 5 laps, everybody will go for a set of the hards to the end, other than Papa and Larkin, because they started on those hard tyres. So, and they've opted to go for a second set of hards, so they haven't got any more hard tyres left to their disposal. So yeah, they definitely need to hope that there isn't going to be any more. Say there's not going to be any safety cars or anything, as the 2 leaders change for that race lead. Salah now up into 1st position. I said leaders, I meant to say Mercedes. Both of the Mercedes are changing positions, so up into 1st now goes Salah, looking to try and get his first race win this evening, and it's looking more and more likely by the minute. But of course, obviously, we're only just about to reach halfway point of this race this evening. Morgan and Kinney all joining into that fight, as Larkin has now gotten both of the positions from Rich and from Mikey, so he is now going to try and lead this charge to catch up to the back of his teammate, and then go and try and catch up to those top 4. On the fresher hard tyres, it's definitely doable, and especially with Papa Squanch all over the back of them as well. Put 2 car buffer between himself and Papa Squanch, so that's massive for Larkin as well, and that's massive for Morgan.
Yeah, definitely. That was very efficient overtaking me of Larkin there, getting by 1 at the first section and 1 at the other, and he's 13 seconds off the race lead. I'll keep a eye on that gap, see if it comes down any, as he's closing rapidly on Jess, who's on the old hard tyres. So I don't think it'll be too much of an issue for Larkin to get by Jess, and then we'll see what he can do to like the Kinney ahead.
It certainly does. So top 4 all still running in unison at the moment. Sonal in 1st with Jacob in 2nd, Morgan in 3rd, and Kinney in 4th. Jess sitting in 5th. Very good race from Jess so far, I've actually got to say here, Jamie. I mean, sitting in 5th position, as you said, the best of the rest, but even, I think, included within the best as well, considering that she's ahead of Papa Papa's not made up the gains I don't think he was expecting to towards the start of this race. In fact, he's got past his teammate. He's now going to try and go for the move on Mikey as they make their way in towards the chicane. Mikey moves over to the left and tries to bump him on the straight. Was very aggressive from Mikey there. Didn't really need to do that. I think it was a bit too much of a late move. And Papa now goes up ahead of the Aston Martin. I understand he's trying to help his teammate, but you can't be doing that. You can't be turning into him on a straight line.
No, definitely. I think like Papa deservedly got through there, and that was a bit on the naughty side there for Mikey, but Papa's got through unharmed, I believe. So, nothing lost there for him, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it certainly could have been a lot worse. So Larkin now only 1.5 seconds behind his teammate. The top four, again, as I say, still all running in unison at the moment. Jacob, 0.8 of a second now behind Salau. Salau is just absolutely running away from those guys behind him. Manages to get the gap in the second and the final sector. He just seems to be a lot more confident on the throttle in that final sector in comparison to his teammates and the two cars behind him as well. So yeah, they're looking very, very good so far. Both of the Mercedes, the same 1 and 2 as well. I think it's going to be quite interesting. As Morgan, I thought, might have been ironing up a move on Jacob for that second position, but no, he's just going to hang tight for now. If the race finishes the way that it is at this moment, it will go, or the Championship League will then go back into Morgan's name by, I think, 2 points going into Brazil. And Solau will be, I'd want to say, 13 points, to my knowledge, behind Morgan. So it's all still kicking off. It just takes one mistake from either the Aston Martin or the Williams, because I mean, Paco Squanch's still sitting in 7th. You know, you've still got the opportunity of jumping up ahead of Jess maybe, but I think 6th might be the best where the Williams is going to finish this evening, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the top 5 is going to be probably out of reach here. I don't think Papa's quite got the pace of Larkin at the moment. Larkin is going to surely get by Jesse. Sure, this will be a breeze by as Jacob gets by Samuel. So Team Mercedes swap positions surely now. This will be the call from the Red Bull team for Jess to let Larkin through, and there we go. Now, what Jess got to do, Jess now has got to try. It's going to be difficult for her, but she's got to try and delay Papa if she can. But it's going to be difficult though with Papa on much fresher tyres.
Yeah, it certainly does. I thought Morgan as well also looking to try and maybe go for a move on Solau. Again, 2 of the championship contenders trying to battle it out in the mid stages of this race now. Jacob is just going to try and drag his teammate along as much as possible and trying to hold that Aston Martin behind. But Morgan looking that much more scarier now to the 2 Mercedes, because he's applying that pressure onto the back of Solau and onto the back of Jacob. As I say, even if it finishes the way it is, Morgan will go into the championship lead. So he's just going to try and maybe play a bit more of a safer route in terms of staying where he is at the moment. Maybe towards the latter stages of this race is when we'll see the Aston Martin try and pounce on one of the 2 Mercedes, or maybe even on both of the Mercedes. But he's using that overtake down this long straight just to try and keep up with them, keep the momentum going on his side as well. Kinney is very close to being dropped out. Excuse me. Very close to being dropped out of that DRS from those top 3, but he's managing to hold on very nicely so far, as Larkin now 10 seconds behind those guys, as Waze has had a massive off at the S section. I think went completely off track at the very end of it, having a massive slide, but manages to get himself back on the circuit. I don't think he picked up any damage from him, so that is good to see for the Ferrari. And yeah, Jess now going to start to be under threat from Papa Squanch. She's managed to just claw on a DRS from a teammate, but Papa is definitely going to be applying the pressure on that Red Bull in front of him.
And now just out of DRS, it's going to be a bit of a difficult issue for us. We got a message from Mike in the chat saying he just wasn't comfortable to hold the car there, set up on the track. He didn't have confidence turning the braking, and he had too many pens, so I thought he'd retire the pits because he didn't want to DSQ and cause safety car. So Mike decided to retire because he didn't want to cause safety car by him DSQing. As look how much quicker Papa is through the S than Jess. This should have been easy overtake down the pit straight. I think it's too far back for a go for move here. I don't think you really want to go for a move here, do you? You want to wait for the DRS down the pit straight.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, but the other Williams of Rich might look to try and go for a move on Mikey very, very soon, maybe even down that pit straight himself, as Kinney is into the pits very early for a second set of the hard tyres. So Kinney gonna look to try and go for a bit
Jess
of
is in
an
as well.
undercut, and yeah, Jess coming in as well. So both of them gonna look to try and go for a bit of an undercut on the rest of the guys out in front. Jess actually probably needed to do that, especially considering that Papa Squanch was all over the back of her. So it's allowed Papa to now sort of run free and try and chase down Larkin again. But again, I don't think he, like you were saying earlier, Jamie, I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough to the back of Larkin to go for the overtake on him.
No, I don't think so either. It just seems like Larkin's just got that covered a bit, and obviously no round there the undercut is so powerful. If you getting clean out, that's the thing though, you got to get him clean out. And Kinney, he's got his teammate to his head, so Kinney's got some nice. But the only problem with him, he's got Mikey head, and we know what Mikey's like at fighting people. This not worked out too great for Kinney. Look at the car's ahead of him. He's not going to get much clean air here. He'll get one lap of probably good pace, and then he's going to be stuck behind these guys here. So pitting in clean air is so vital, and that's not worked out well for him because look at the car's ahead of him.
Yeah, it's not worked out well for him whatsoever, as Moki actually just going off of the track at the start of the S's there as well. So I don't think Moki's going to try and fight his teammate too hard. I think Kinney is just going to be, or is going to make quite light work of getting past his teammate, as the two Mercedes now changing. As I say that, actually Jacob's coming into the pit, so he's going for the cover off of Kinney, but Kinney is stuck behind his teammate, and thought Moki might have been making it easy to let his teammate on by, but no, he's not actually making it easy whatsoever. And in fact, we might see Jacob go for it, get the overcut done on Mokwe, and you can see he's now going to use that battery, try and go past his teammate. Where is Jacob coming out though? He has a massive slide coming out of the pit lane, but he has emerged out in front of Kinney. Now, is Kinney going to have the overspeed on Jacob in towards turn one? No, he's not close enough to the Mercedes to get the jump on in there, but of course he will inherit the DRS on from his teammate off of that or off of the stadium section. So he will have the DRS, he will have the opportunity to close back up to the back of the Mercedes, so it will still run in tandem, the fact that Jacob is ahead of Kinney with that DRS, but now they've got to try and maneuver their way through the rest of this traffic, and as I said, it is literally just Rich 500.
Yeah, Rich is the only guy which is the caught ball here. Once he gets by them guys, and it's a 6.5 second gap to Papa ahead, so yeah, that should be quite easy enough here. But I missed that moment for Jacob, but obviously in cold tyres it's so easy to have a little snap like that. So yeah, we covered it well though, in a good position still here, and Rich looks under threat here from an overtaker. Salau is in the pits, Salau is covered off these guys. I think Salau will probably come out ahead of these guys because these guys lose a lot of time behind the Williams.
Yeah, they certainly have, and Rich, there you go, look, he's just blocking Jacob and Kinney a lot, and in fact Jacob actually got the move done, just go through the stadium section. Rich is coming into the pits. Kinney did tap the back of Rich as well, so Jacob did manage to pick up DRS. Where is Solal though? And yeah, he's gonna inherit, or he's gonna be behind his teammate, but the overspeed, I think Jacob is gonna go back up ahead of his teammate. He dives it down the inside of his teammate and gets that move done. So now Jacob back up into the net race lead. The first guys that have made their second pit stop, they're only 7 seconds behind Papa Squanch, so they're going to try and do their best to close up now to the back of that Williams out in front. But when does Morgan opt to pit? As Kinney diving it down the inside of Solal as well, going to have it around the outside is Kinney. Solal and Kinney both side by side, all banging with each other, going through the double right hand as Kinney's going to try and hold it around the outside. Solal gave him that room there, but opts to back out of that one, and Kinney now has to stay behind Solal, but Solal's now lost DRS to his teammate.
Yeah, that was very late by Kinney into the corner. I think just about okay though. Yeah, but Solal did manage to fight it, but yeah, look like he's lost 1 point. He's lost like a second by fighting there. That might allow Morgan to get ahead of Solal. That I think that might help Morgan possibly get ahead of might get in between these two Mercedes. We'll see. Morgan's in the pits now.
Have a look. So going on the second set of hard tyres means that Larkin will go into the race lead and Papa Squanch up into second. But where are the rest of these guys going to be coming out? Jacob will go up ahead. Is Morgan going to be behind the pair of them as well though? Yes, he will. Solal and Kinney both dart past Morgan, but Kinney is going to look to try and go for the move on Solal down in towards turn one. I think the kick Sauber's going to get that move done. They're both side by side with one another in through turn one, turn two and turn three. Solal actually goes back up ahead of the kick Sauber after having a better run out of that chicane, but Kinney is now going to have the DRS once again on the back of the Mercedes, but unfortunately for him, he's not close enough, so Kinney just going to have to sit behind the Mercedes once again. Again, all of this battling is just allowing Jacob to run on free, and he is on that race leader. He's now actually dropped the gap down, as it was 7 seconds last lap, it's now down to 5 seconds.
Yeah, into turn one there, Kinney was very. He turned it very early and actually got on the grass in a little corner cut moment there. I wonder if he had a little warning about an illegal overtake there, because he did cut the track technically on the grass. I wonder if he had to back out of it for the legal overtake. I wonder if that was maybe a factor in that, because he did quite slow in between turn one and turn two.
Yeah, it could have been the case. So maybe we'll see a resumption of that going down in towards turn one. As Jacob now putting 2 seconds ahead of his teammate, and 2 seconds almost again catching up to the back of Papa Squanch. There you can see literally just in a very far view of that of Papa Squanch out in front. So yeah, I think unfortunately for Papa Squanch, he's going to be seriously under threat from these top 3 guys now as they make their way down towards turn one. Sarago's pretty deep actually going through turn one. Kinney's going to have the better traction out of the chicane. In fact, saying that, Morgan had the better traction, and now Kinney under threat from Morgan. Morgan's going to try and go for this one for 3rd place. He's got much more battery as well to play with. Kinney's going to have to back off of that one. In fact, dives it up the inside of the Aston Martin, both side by side of one another once again as well, both leaving each other as much room as possible. Kinney is going to have the outside for the double right-handers, Morgan down the inside for the double right-handers, both still side by side with one another. This is just allowing Solau to try and run away as well. Morgan holding it around the outside and has to yield the position. So Kinney's now up, back up into a net 3rd position as he in fact picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles as well, as there's been a spinner towards back that is Ways as he is retired from the session. But yeah, Kinney, 3-second time penalty.
Pit lane. Yeah, that was again in that corner again. Yeah, Kinney is really calling the brake there. He's so late on the brakes through there, and that has just allowed Morgan, as Morgan gets the move done in the penultimate corner, I believe. That's Morgan overtaking place.
Oh, Kinney's disconnected. So Kinney, I wondered what had happened then, because he looked very slow through the stadium section.
Yeah, he was lagging around.
I thought he played DRS chicken, so I thought that was going to be a bit bad, but no, he's just disconnected from the session. So very unfortunate for Kinney. Hopefully he gets himself back in.
Yeah. Obviously DRS chicken is banned in one hub racing. So if that happened, but obviously it wasn't DRS chicken. It was just him having a disconnect. So I'm trying to re-invite him. So let's see if we can re-invite him back into the lobby.
All this while that's going on for yourself, Jamie, is Rich getting a move done on King 5 Panda up for 9th position. They've still all got the DRS off the back of Mikey out in front. They're being yellow flags. They're not going to be able to make any overtakes, unfortunately. But you can see Catherine is trying to go for the move on King 5 Panda, and I think she might have to give that position up because of those yellow flags from the retired Sheck Ways after he retired in the pits. His car came out of the pits and caused that yellow flag there. So unfortunately for Catherine, she wanted to go for the move on the Haas but wasn't able to due to that yellow flag. And King 5 Panda still yet to make a 2nd pit stop. Same with Larkin, same with Papa Squanch, both still going. And now Jacob has got DRS to the back of Papa Squanch, and I think we're about to see our net race leader go up ahead of our championship leader, and he certainly does, up into 2nd position now.
Yeah, easy done now. Obviously, the tyre offset just easily done, and the moment Jacob will catch Larkin a bit short. I think Larkin won a pit before Jacob actually, because he won't lose any time with Jacob overtaking. So Larkin obviously going in mediums. And how long do you think a set of mediums would go at Everston? Would you say 9 laps? Would you say, or maybe 10 laps? Would you say, or 9 laps? That'd be sort of, or that'd be too far. Would you say?
I reckon you can get 10 laps out of them. I reckon, 10 laps for sure on that last stint. I mean, 2nd stint you can definitely get 7 laps out of them. So I reckon last stint you can get 9-10 laps out of them for sure. So I'd expect Larkin and or Papa Squanch to be pitting at the end of this lap, and taking mediums to the end of this race. I've got to say, Larkin, very good race so far. Unfortunately for him though, I think he's going to come out behind Jess. Maybe will be fighting Mikey as well on the exit of that. And in fact, he actually opted to stay out another lap. Papa Squanch hasn't, and is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. So Larkin going to be under from an undercut from Papa Squanch. He's going to have to pit at the end of this lap as Larkin.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's going to have to fortunately for him. Jacob's not going to pass him this lap, so he's going to have clean air. So that's a bit of good fortune there. But they see where Papa Squanch comes out. Can he come out in clean air? I believe he'll come out in between Jess and Mikey, so it's going to come out some nice clean air.
Yeah, it certainly does. In fact, actually a lot closer to Jess than what I was expecting. So, yeah, maybe Larkin will actually be ahead of his teammate by the time he comes into the pits, or they might just be just behind him. But Papa Squanch going on a set of mediums, yeah, it's definitely best for Larkin to come in at the end of this lap, because otherwise he is going to be seriously under threat from Papa Squanch when he makes that pit stop, especially considering he's on those mediums on the much better and fresher tyres. So yeah, Larkin definitely has to make that pit stop, as Jacob has now caught up to the back of the Red Bull. I don't think Jacob's going to go for any move in the stadium section, and will probably just take the DRS going in towards down in towards turn number 1. I was saying that he's all over the back of the Red Bull, but no, doesn't dive down the inside, and Larkin does make his way into the pits. So we'll see where Larkin comes out in relation to Papa Squanch, and if the both of them on those medium tyres are going to look to try and catch up to Kinney, because Kinney is only 6 seconds behind 6 seconds ahead of Jess.
No, yeah, you'd say Jess definitely in a good position here as Larkin leaving the pits now. Look at Papa right at the back of Jess. Papa's got a bucket full of time now, that lap there. Papa will DRS down Jess, so it's going to be very close between Larkin and Jess. I think Larkin may be ahead here, but not by much. Look at them, going to be. Look at Larkin's got to get up to speed, and look at these two guys. Larkin just ahead, and Jess is holding back. She's trying to defend on Larkin, and Larkin gets and yeah. But he gets through now. Now the problem is now for Larkin, Papa's on warm tyres and he's going to have DRS. So Larkin will be under threat here for Papa for this lap.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be close enough to going for any sort of move. But yeah, Larkin is going to be able to stay up ahead of Papa Squanch. So he's now 5.5 seconds behind Kinney. But don't forget, Kinney picked up that 3-second time penalty. So Larkin only really needs to catch up by another 2 seconds. And he picks himself up at least a 4th position, as Kinney is 11 seconds
back
behind.
in his car now, though, which is good. But yeah, that's cost him any chance of. It probably cost him 4th place, that disconnect. Obviously, only been out of the race for a lap, and look at it, he lost 10 seconds. That shows you how difficult, how hard it is to recover from a disconnect.
Yeah, it certainly is. So yeah, Larkin 5 seconds now behind Kinney on those fresher medium tyres. Papa Squanch has managed to stick with Larkin throughout this lap, so he's going to pick up the DRS on the back of the Red Bull. So it's going to be Papa versus Larkin for what I reckon will be a 4th position if they can catch up to Kinney quick enough. As there you go, Papa Squanch setting the fastest lap of the race so far, and you can see the DRS is now wide open for the Williams. He's closing up ever so slightly to the back of the Red Bull, but I don't think it's going to be close enough to go for any move in towards turn 1, but maybe down in towards turn number 4 we might see the Williams go for something on the Red Bull. But I think Papa, what he's doing, I've just seen it, doing a bit of lifting and coasting. He's trying to preserve these medium tyres as much as possible, so that he's not burning these out, especially considering that Larkin's going to be on 1 lap fresher tyres. It can make a massive difference, especially around this circuit.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you don't want to take too much out of it. Maybe a bit happy, maybe being a bit behind. Yeah, go say a bit of tyres. And crucial enough there, that last lap there, Papa set the fast lap of the race, and that's an extra point. So there could be a position here where Morgan could finish 3rd and Papa could finish 4th with the fastest lap, and that would be an amazing save for Papa after qualifying, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be, but Solau picking up the 3-second time penalty. It's now, unfortunately for himself, going to promote Morgan up ahead of him, considering he's only 1.3 seconds behind. I think the top 3 are the top 3, but it's not going to be finishing in that particular order. From the looks of it, Solau will be the one that finishes in 3rd, but it's just whoever's going to finish 1st and 2nd in that running. It's looking like Jacob might be the one that will take the win this evening, but again, we've still got another 7 laps to go. But yeah, Solau's penalty, I said it earlier on, it's going to be decided in terms of penalty wise, and it's looking like it's going to be coming in fruition with that. Although I've got to say, I'm very surprised at the lack of penalties that drivers have gotten this evening. I thought there'd be a lot more, but it doesn't look like there's actually much, to be honest with you here, Jamie.
No, yeah, it was King, unfortunately, having a solid race if his first one, but unfortunately for him, he did get a speeding in the pit lane, so that's going to hurt his race big time. But yeah, no, I'm surprised by a lack of corner cut penalties, because we had a bucket load in P3 tier, but I guess P2 tier is more skilled drivers, so I'm not, probably it's not huge to see less penalties than in P3, but these guys are pushing hard, and there's 3 or 4 laps going here. A couple of guys won 2 warnings, so they've been feeling quite nervous here. Don't want to make a mistake. and because you're never going to gain 3 seconds by running off track, so they're going to just keep it on track to hope for the best. I believe Morgan is actually on 2 warnings here, so he's going to have to be super careful because he's going to inherit second place as long as he doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, no, he certainly will. And I think Mike is right in the chat. I think Jacob really did not play that team game with his teammate Salah, and now Salah,
No.
I think, to be honest with you, with the way it's going to finish, I think Salah is going to be out of championship contention. So it's going to come down to the 2 drivers of Morgan and Papa Squanch. And Papa Squanch still needs to try and get this move done on Larkin just to at least be, I think it will be tied on points with himself and Morgan going into the final race of the season. A bit of a Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton-esque championship is what it's coming down to at the moment. But yeah, Papa sticking to the back of the Red Bull out in front. Everybody now in that top 3 are back within DRS of each other. It was 1 second separating each of them. Jacob might have actually burnt out his tyres, or is now going to start to play the team game for Salah.
Yeah, I wonder if Jacob will let Salah past here, maybe try and delay Morgan by 3 seconds, but that's going to be very difficult to do. That's going to be very difficult to do that. To delay a guy by 3 seconds, I don't see that happening, but I wonder if Jacob's finally realised he's got to help his teammate here to win the Drivers' Championship. Look, they're not winning Constructors' fight, so help his teammate here as Salah does get through and into the lead, and now we'll see what's going to happen between Jacob and Morgan.
Certainly do. So Salah's going to have that DRS. Morgan is going to have that DRS, but he's not going to be close enough to the back of Jacob. So Jacob's just going to try and sit behind his teammate for the time being. I think Jacob will be happy to sort of just carry on following Salah for the time being. There may be a chop and change between both of the Mercedes, but they've just got to try and hope that Morgan isn't going to be close enough to going for any moves on the back of one of those 2 Mercedes. As I say, we're now into the closing stages of this race. The hard tyres are going to be starting to go off for these guys out in front as Catherine picks up a 3-second time penalty. Papa Squanch has actually lost DRS to Larkin, so he must have made a massive mistake somewhere on the last lap or 2. Yeah, all that as well. But yeah, Larkin now only 1.2 behind Kinney. And Kinney, as I say, he managed to get himself back in the session, but the first one that pit on a set of hard tyres, he's really going to be struggling now on those hards.
And also because Kinney lost the DRS to the leaders, he's just losing time every lap because you didn't have that benefit of DRS down the straight. Once you lose DRS down there, you toast basically. You just fall down the order. So yeah, it's a shame that Kinney like this. He was on for a good race. I don't think he would have been podium, but it would have been a secure at 4th place. Now, and that looks unlikely. He may still get 5th out of this, but I believe Larkin would get 4th here because Papa's pace has dropped off rapidly. So at the moment, Larkin in Papa's squad, she's going to struggle to get 5th.
Yeah, he certainly will, and as I say, Larkin will be the one that wants to try and capitalise and get in 4th position up ahead of Kinney. So Kinney's got that penalty. Papa Squanch will still finish in 5th because of Kinney's penalty, but he needs to try and stay within those 3 seconds behind the kick Sauber, because as I say, those mediums, they're definitely going to be starting to go off now for, not only for Papa, but for Larkin as well. So Larkin needs to go for this move sooner rather than later on the back of that kick Sauber, and he's done a very good job of closing up to the back of him. Now he's just got to try and overtake that kick Sauber out in front. So yeah, and I mean, he doesn't even necessarily need to do that. He's got the penalty. He just needs to stay within the 3 seconds of him. But yeah, as I say, those mediums, they're going to start to die off very, very soon. So
still 3 laps to go. Yeah, still 3 laps to go. So still plenty of time. So it's going to be difficult for him. As Mike says, Jacob needs a Perez. As Jacob needs to do a Perez type defense than Morgan. Yeah, he does, but it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done in the game. But yeah, that needs to happen pretty quickly because Morgan's just happily. He'll take 2nd place for sure. He's not going to take too many because he wants to win the race, but a 2nd place for him will be good with Papa all the way down in 5th or 6th. So yeah, I think Morgan's played a long game here. You realise he'd be too rash here because you don't lose these 17 points in the barrier. So yeah, but Morgan's played a sensible championship game here.
Yeah, he certainly has, and I won't be at all surprised if on that final lap, if it still remains the same order of what it is at the moment, if Jacob through those S's might go slightly slower through the S's just to help out his teammate. There is that option of him potentially doing that. So we will wait and see if Jacob is going to opt to play that team game or if he's just going to happily sit behind his teammate finish the race in first, and then yeah, I say Morgan will probably inherit that second place from there, as Catherine and Mikey side by side with one another, going in towards the second sector, coming up towards the double right hand, as Catherine looking to try and go for a bit more of a switchback on the Aston Martin. Mikey's holding it around the outside, Catherine down the inside of those double right handers. She can be able to try and maybe go around the outside in towards the S section. No, she gives that position up as Mikey picks up another 3-second time penalty. Mikey having a massive slide through that S section as well. So yeah, Mikey being able to hold on ahead of Catherine and Mokri. Very good battle going on for that 9th position. In fact, Catherine actually trying to go for a move on Mikey now in towards the stadium section, and she gets that move done. Mikey now down into 10th, but she's going to have the DRS on the back of the McLaren out in front of him. So I think Mikey is just going to, well, he's going to be happy to sit behind Catherine for the time being. But yeah, Mikey's tyres are definitely going off. Despite Catherine's being 1 lap older, Mikey really, really struggling on those tyres. And in fact, he actually comes into the pits. So interesting.
He's got 9 seconds of penalties, so he's going to finish 12th, whatever. So you might as well go fast that point here, outside the top 10. He's not going to lose anything because he's going to drop to 9th anyway with his penalty. 10th, 12th, anyway, chooses his penalties. As Cam also comes in for that fast that point attempt. Obviously, they're both outside the top 10. So as I believe Wilkie has stayed out. Yeah, it's Mikey's going to lead the pits now. So yeah, it's not. I don't blame him for doing that. As we approach that now. Now, what is Jacob will do here in the final lap? We'll wait and see. Obviously, he won DRS down the pit straight and the second straight, but what's he going to do in the S's? We'll keep an eye out for that. Will he be able to slow down, delay Morgan by? For the moment, he's got to delay by 1.8 seconds at the moment. We'll wait and see now as the final lap's underway. It's a moment Larkin, it's going to be tight for Larkin for 5th place because Larkin's tire's gone off now and Kinney is starting to pull away. So Larkin, he's not set for 4th at the moment. He may lose that 4th place on the last lap.
Certainly can. That's wrong on board though. Jacob all over the back of his teammate. He's not going to go for any move. He was looking at it potentially, almost hitting the back of his teammate, coming up towards the start of that second sector. Now, are we going to see the team games going down, or is Jacob just going to say, I want this race win? Let's have a look and see. Solal has been able to hold on. It's been a very good team game between the two Mercedes throughout the whole of this race, but I don't think Jacob is going to play that team game. He wants to win for this evening, and I do not blame him whatsoever. So Jacob all over the back of Solal as they make their way in towards the stadium section. Morgan eyeing up a potential move on Jacob as they make their way in towards that stadium section. Morgan not going to be close enough to going for the move on the Mercedes. Solal will lead it all the way up in towards the stadium section and in towards that final corner, and he will cross the line to finish first on track. But unfortunately for Solal, he jumps down to 3rd, and it will be Jacob who takes his first win for P2 tier in One Hub this season. Morgan will finish in 2nd and Solal will finish in 3rd position. Kinney will finish 4th on track, but it will jump up to Larkin to finish in 4th on circuit. Kinney will finish in 5th. Papa Squanch will finish in 6th. And once again, the championship lead changes. It's back into Morgan's favour going into the final race at Brazil. Jess will finish in 7th position. She'll be very happy in finishing in 7th with that. A very good result for both of the Red Bulls as well in 4th and 7th. Rich in 8th. Catherine in 9th, Mokwi in 10th. Now, are we going to see Mikey pick up that fastest lap? Are we going to see Cam pick up that fastest lap? At the moment, Mr. Zontal is the one holding that. But are either of them going to jump up ahead of it? No, Mikey does not pick it up. Is it going to be Cam that chucks it down with the fastest lap point for this evening? No, he does not. It will go to Mr. Zontal outside of the top 10. So he will pick up the fastest lap point as Welsh Benjamin and King Fly Panda come home to finish for the penultimate race of season number 27.
Yeah, good race there, good race. Interesting, nice battle at the front between them guys. And yeah, crucial for Morgan to get that second place. He gets 17 points. That'll move him on to, I believe, 172. That's, I believe, my rough calculations. And Papa Squanch, he finished 5th, I believe. Was it 5th or 6th? Sixth. So he gets 8 points, plus he gets a fast lap. He got a fast lap, so he gets 9 points. So he'll be on 167. So the gap, by my calculations, with Morgan will be in the lead by 5 points. Now, what that means is that Morgan could basically finish second in Brazil and win the championship. So that was crucial, Morgan. And that overtake in Austin, that becomes even more important now. Look at this.
Yeah, it certainly does. So Jacob takes the win for this evening. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that result. Morgan in second, Salah in third, sorry. Larkin in fourth, Kinney fifth, Papa Squatch in sixth, Jess in seventh, Rich eighth, Catherine ninth, Moki in 10th, Mikey in 11th, Cam picking up final points in 12th, Welsh Benjamin, King 5 Panda, Mr. Zontal, and Richelu, all our finishers, and then our DNFers of Ways and Ivor and Mike in 17th and in 18th position. And I've got to ask here, Jamie, who would you say is your sim racing driver of the day for this evening?
Oh, very difficult one. A lot of really good contenders. Say, I believe the top 5 all drove really well today. But I'm gonna go. I have to go with the race winner, Jacob. You know, Salah was probably the quicker driver today, but he made that mistake. He got the penalty. Jacob didn't, and he won the race. And I'm going to say, well done, mate. Good win. This is your 6th win of the season. Your first in the P2 tier. What were you doing in the last few laps? Why did you drop the pace so much last few laps there? Were you managing the problem?
Question for sure. And in terms of who I think would be the driver of the day, it is very tough to call with everyone, as you were saying. I am going to go ahead and give it over to my good buddy, Mr. ERT Larkin. I think it was a very good drive from starting on a set of those hard tyres to then come home and finish it in fourth on those mediums. Question for him will be: was you expecting to get yourself within the top 4 for this evening, and how was that race for you? Did the strategy play off as much as you had hoped it did for this race this evening? So, yeah, if you want to vote for the sim racing setup driver of the day, you can always do so in the Discord for One Hub Racing if you are in that Discord. But yeah, any sort of final thoughts going in towards this final race of the season here, Jamie, especially with how tight the championship is?
Yeah, I can't wait for it. It's going to be great. Obviously, you have to say Morgan is the big favourite now, but Papa can definitely win in Brazil, and he could definitely win these guys getting in between. So it's not over yet for Papa. So yeah, but you have to say Morgan has to be the big favourite with what I believe is a 5-point lead. Obviously, that will be confirmed later in the week when the stew results come out and the results get finalised. But yeah, that I have to say the big advantage has to be towards Morgan at the moment.
Certainly does. So Papa Squanch versus Morgan for this championship. It's coming down to the wire. One more race left to go at Brazil. Thanks to everybody for tuning in for this evening. Make sure you guys are tuning in to the P1 tier just about to start with both Ivor, Mike and Jess. So yeah, you do not want to miss out on that one. The championship also spicy up in that bit with Ben, Kieran and Marco as well. So you do not want to be missing out on that championship fight either. So thanks everyone for tuning in for this evening, and we'll catch you guys next week for the final round around Brazil.